Do I know what's happening? Do I ever? Hello everybody, my name is Kelsey and we're about to get very, very nerdy with May's TBR. That we have basically almost hit the middle of the year, because like that is, I cannot wrap my brain around that fact. Like that's just weird to me. But it's time for yet another TBR, another dip in the basket of reads for the month, my TBR game. If you have no idea what I'm talking about or any of the rules, don't worry at all. I will leave a link up above of the very, very first TBR of the year where I go over all of the rules and all the fun stuff that has to go into this basket. But that's really all I think I need to say. The month of May, I've got one readathon that I'm hoping to participate in, which is in the last week of the month. It's nothing crazy. It's the Do the Thing Along hosted by Ashley from Frolic Through Fiction. I'll make sure I leave her announcement video down below, but it's all about like doing the thing, basically, of like if there's a series that you have been putting off, a book you've been putting off, goals you made at the beginning of the year that you've completely forgotten about, this is the time to do it. So I'm hoping the basket will be super nice to me, considering that last month it was very much not, and that I'll have like a bunch of small things or things I can find audiobooks for so that I can finish my TBR before that last week. Because I'm not sure what I'm doing yet, but I have a few ideas, so I'm not making any official TBR for that, but I will be vlogging, so check that out when it comes out at the beginning of, I think it'll be the beginning of June. That's really all I have to say, so let's take a look at how I did last month. Because, oh my gosh, last month was a month. So, oh goodness. So if you remember last month, my TBR was super mean to me because I had my first punishment pick, but I also had to add like 10 things onto my TBR. That's not true. But I ended up having, I think, 11 books on my TBR. So it was stressful. But let's take a look at how I did. So last month, this is heavy, and this isn't even all the books. I had many ebooks on here as well. But I started out the month with Beneath the Sugar Sky by Sean McGuire, which was to listen to an audiobook. My Brother's Husband, Volume 2 by Jingoro Tagame, which was author random letter I Got Tea. Get a Life Chloe Bound by Talia Hibbert, which was to read a book that was gifted. Three Sisters Sweet Queens by Philippa Gregory, which was the book that I did for Gavin's TBR game that I failed at. Then I did, oh shoot, I changed my mind on this one. It was Becca's game, which was read an ebook or listen to an audiobook. I was going to do one thing, but it was a buddy read with a friend, so we just changed it, but I ended up reading In Bed with a Highlander by Maya Banks. It was just a different Maya Banks book, but that's the one that I read for that one. Recent purchase was to read Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. Read a book that you put on pause, which was Among the Jayneites by Deborah Yafe. Then there was Read a Standalone, and I read my ARC copy of I Speak Boy by Jessica Brody. Read a book based on current events. I picked Grown by Tiffany D. Jackson. Read a book out of your comfort zone. I picked The Au Pair Down Here by Emma Roos because it's like a mystery book, and I'm still getting into mystery books. And finally, best friend pick, I was able to Skype my friend Lauren, and she picked in Picture Us and the Light, which was her pick for me. So out of all of those books, all 11 books that I picked, I am recording this about a week before the end of the month. These are the 3 that I haven't finished yet. Now, Get a Life Chloe Brown, I'm quite literally in the middle of, and I'm loving it, so I'm going to finish that in the next couple of days. I haven't started Grown yet, but I do have an audiobook from my library, so I'm for sure going to finish this by the end of the month. However, The Au Pair, I just barely started, and this I'm reading physically, and I'm not sure I'm going to get to this or finish it by the end of the month. I'm going to try my hardest, but it's very unlikely. So I'm going to go ahead and take one punishment for this book, because I'm for sure going to finish these before the end of the month. But with that being said, let's see what the TBR basket has in store for us. First pick for May is this one, which is, browse the library and pick a random library book. So my very first pick out of the basket this month was Browse the Library. And in theory, what this would be is I would just go hang out at the library, I'd take you guys with me, and we'd browse the shelves and I'd pick a book. However, with my library, they're very strict now because of COVID, and so like you can only go in at certain hours, and like my work schedule doesn't allow that. So instead, I browsed my Overdrive app. And they have a book I was planning on reading this month anyway, so I'm going to pick up the audiobook for In an Absent Dream by Shauna Maguire, which is the fourth in the Wayward Children's series. I am buddy reading this with my friend Teresa. We read Beneath the Sugar Sky last month, and so we're going to continue with the next three in the series that are currently out, and this is the next one. Do I know what this is about? Not really. I know it follows a girl in a goblin market. So instead of following the characters at the actual home, this is one of the books where we're actually in a world. And the goblin market has been mentioned a couple of times. I can't remember if somebody else has also gone to this world or if this is a new character. I don't remember. But I don't recognize the name in here. So I think we're just going to see this girl in her world. And I'm very intrigued by that. So that's really all I know. It's the next in the series. I love her writing. I love these books. They're very, very small novellas that are very fantastical, and I love every second of it. But the audiobook is at the library, so I'm going to listen to this book on my library's audiobook. So that's my pick. Number 2. This one, which is to reread a favorite. So the next pick was to reread a favorite, which is hard for me because like I really want to read all these new things and I couldn't think of a favorite that like was really sticking out to me. So I went back to the video I created like I think this time last year, which was books that I want to reread. And I was just going through that because I was trying to remember some of the things that I wanted to reread, and this book popped up and it's perfect for this time of year, and that is My Lady Jane, which is the first in the Lady Janies series, created by Cynthia Hand, Brody Ashton, and Jody Meadows. So I say this is the perfect time for this because they have a new book coming out in like a separate series, which is all about Maries and Marys. And so the first book follows Mary, Queen of Scots, but it takes place in this fantastical world that they've created for My Lady Jane. So I thought, what better way to prepare for that book that's going to come out in June than by reading this one and reminding myself of the world. Now, I remember a lot about this book, but I like flew through this and I wasn't tabbing at the time, and like now I know there are so many things that I wish I had tabbed. Like there's one specific one right here, but that's it. And let's be honest, I would have tabbed a ton more. So I am going to reread this book, and I'm so very excited, mostly to prepare myself for that book to come out so I can remember the world, but also I loved this book so much, and I cannot wait to get back into it. It was so good. Oh, I'm so excited. Number 3. Is to read a mass market paperback. The next book is to read a mass market paperback, which is perfect, kind of. I'm bending this one a little bit. So this one I'm going to be reading Never Love a Highlander by Maya Banks with my lovely friend Taylor. We've been reading Maya Banks books. We started a couple of months ago, and so like we're obsessed with them. But this is the third in her McBride series. We read the first one last month, and it was great, and the main female character in this book was mentioned in that book, and so we were both like, we need to know more about her. So we're going to be reading this one. Now, I will have it on Kindle. However, it is a mass market paperback book, and if I were to physically own it, I would own the mass market paperback. But I'm going to be reading the ebook version of this, so like slightly cheating, but I really wanted to get this in because I'm super excited about this book. So this is... And it's also my game, so I make the rules. So this is my book that I'm choosing. Do I know a whole lot about what this is about? Not really. But it does follow our main character, whose name I'm totally forgetting. Rion, I think? Who is the daughter of a laird of one clan who has been basically proposed to and is engaged to one of the brothers of another clan to like solidify the connection between these two clans. But like, the synopsis says that she falls for a different brother than the brother that she is supposed to be with. And I'm really excited about this. I loved this series. I love her writing. She creates incredible, strong-willed female characters. And like, I just can't wait to see what she does with this based on a couple of things that we've seen from this main character in the previous book. I'm very excited. So this is my pick. Slightly cheating, but it's my game, so I'm saying it's okay. Number 4.
one. Read a book that starts with one of your initials.
So the next one is to read a book with one of my initials in it. And so I decided to give myself as much option as I wanted. So I chose from all 4 of my initials, my first name, Kelsey, which you guys know, my middle name, and then my maiden and married name. So I had 4 different initials to choose from, but I ended up going with a book that starts with K anyway. So like, I didn't really need all those options. But I'm going to read The Kingdom of Back by Marie Lu. So I've never read a Marie Lu book before, but when I got this in the Owl Crate for, what month was it for? I still have the stuff in here. What does this say? This says it was for March 2020, so a little over a year ago. I was so excited. It was my favorite Owl Crate I'd ever gotten. I was incredibly excited about this book. This book is stunning. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got like silver sprayed edges. This cover is gorgeous. Like everything about this book sounds amazing. And it's about magic, but it's also about music. So it follows the sister of Mozart, who is also really into music, but because she's a female, no one like takes her seriously. And also there's this magical element to it. And I think she like goes to a different world. I honestly have no idea, but I've been like super excited for this book, and it starts with a K. I'm not counting the. I starts with a K for Kelsey, so like that's what we're gonna go with. And I'm actually really excited about this. I think I found an audiobook for this at my library, so I'll be able to listen to this as well. And then like on the back right here, it says, "I am the sister, the other Mozart, and her story is mine." Oh my gosh, I'm so excited.
Number 5. Let's see, this one, which is to read a book with nature on the cover, grass, flowers, trees, etc. You had this one before as well.
The next one is to read a book with nature on the cover, and you can like interpret this any way you want. So I'm gonna go with Mary B by Catherine J. Chen because there's like flowers on the front around the B. This is an untold story of Pride and Prejudice from the perspective of Mary Bennet, which was the middle sister, and she gets like the smallest amount of, not screen time, but like time in the book because she's just kind of there to be an extra sister. She doesn't really have a purpose. She's the boring sister, really, and so this is just this author taking her story and running with it, and I believe it takes place before, during, and after the events of Pride and Prejudice, so I'm very excited. I've said this many times, but like I feel like Mary is a character that I want to know more about because we know so little about her from the original text that like authors can do whatever they want with her. I am so excited to see what's going to happen. And also this is on the list of books I want to read by the end of the year. So like if I don't get to it, I can like sneak this in the last week for that readathon. But also I'm just really excited about this. And since I did my Jane Austen collection video a couple of weeks ago, now I just want to read all the Jane Austen things. So I'm very excited.
Number 6. Let's see, this one. Oh, come on. Here we go. All right. Read a book with a number in the title.
So the next one is to read a book with a number in the title. And like, I think this counts technically. So I'm going to go with Love at First Like by Hannah Ornstein. This is an adult contemporary romance. I'm counting first as a number because technically it's not like a physical number like 1, 2, 3, but like first is referring to something. So I'm going to say it counts. Also, this is for sure on my list of things I want to read by the end of the year. But it is a, I think, enemies to lovers, maybe, but it's for sure a fake dating romance. Because it follows our main character, Eliza, who works at a jewelry company with her sister, I believe. I believe it's her family jewelry shop. And one night she accidentally takes, not accidentally, but she takes a picture of a ring on that finger and puts it on her Instagram, and like the world blows up. They think that she's engaged, like the shop is getting a lot more love, and like people are coming to actually see it, and so she like gets this guy to pretend to be her fiance, but I'm not sure he knows that that's what she's doing. I'm not entirely sure. The back is a little confusing, but it's a contemporary romance, and it's also fake dating / fake engaged thing, which is a trope that I enjoy. So I'm really excited about this. I've had this for a little bit, and we're gonna see if I enjoy this. But I think I will. I think it's gonna be fun.
Number 7. this one, which is to read a fantasy.
The next book is to read a fantasy. I'm gonna finally read Agatha by Sarah J. Maas, and I am so excited. I don't know if you can tell by everything about me, but I loved Crescent City. I haven't stopped talking about it since I read it a couple of months ago. It's the only book that's got like cover front on any of my shelves because it's got like, it's that important to me, but I think I'm really going to enjoy her Agatha series as well. So I've got the first one. I don't really want to invest in any more until I read this one to make sure it is actually for me because they just keep getting bigger. Like the next one is huge, but I'm gonna do it. I'm finally gonna read it. This is kind of a retelling of the story of Tamlin, as well as the story of Beauty and the Beast. We follow our main character named Feyre, and she accidentally kills a fae in the woods, but the fae was disguised as a wolf, so it's like a shape-shifting fae. But because of that, she's taken to like this court of the fae, and things happen, and it's a romance, and it's supposed to be like super seamy. Like this is technically a YA in the US, but a lot of people are like, it should be new adult. So I'm gonna count this as a new adult book. But yeah, I don't know. It sounds really good, and I've loved her writing in the past. So I'm so excited. Oh, y'all, I cannot tell you how excited I am about this, because if I love this, which I'm feeling I will, then I can immediately go out and get the rest in the series. But I'm gonna do it. I'm finally going to read Agatha. Would you like a video diary of my experience reading Agatha for the first time, since it's such a hyped book? Let me know. I'm stoked.
Number 8 is this one. Oh goodness. Okay, come on. Thank you. Which is read a secondhand bought book.
The next one is to read a book that you've bought secondhand. Which is actually harder than I care to admit, because I've forgotten how many books on my shelves were actually secondhand and which weren't, because like a lot of them are in really good condition. But I've decided to go with Closed Casket by Agatha Christie. This is one of her Poirot series. What's his name? Hercule Poirot, which is like her, I think he's Belgium. Her Belgium detective that she's got so many books from. And he was the main detective in Murder on the Orient Express, which I've actually read by her, but because I've got like so many, I don't know if you can see, they're all right here. I got a ton the last time I went to the book warehouse that is near me. I got a lot. So I went through my library, and this is the only one that I had that had an audiobook available right away, and I didn't have to wait for like 7 weeks. So we're gonna go with this one. But it's basically it reminds me of Clue, because all these people gather at this house for reading of this woman's will, but for some reason also 2 famous detectives are there, so Hercule Poirot and also Inspector Edward's Catchpool of Scotland Yard, because I think the lady thinks someone's gonna die. Like, she's already dead. We're reading her will, but like they think that she asked these 2 people to come because she thinks something shady is gonna be happening, because she cut off her 2 kids from the will. So I don't really know, but I loved Murder on the Orient Express. I'm really excited to get more involved in some of her mystery, because I really like that kind of like, I don't even know how to explain it, like 30s, 20s, 30s vibe murder mystery style. So I'm really excited about this. But this gives me like a Clue vibe, where like everyone is stuck in a house and then they start going one by one, but like not really. There's something else going on here. But I'm really excited about this. So this is gonna be my secondhand book, because I did get it from that big book warehouse, which is all secondhand.
And the very last roll, which is my punishment pick, number 9, is to read this one, which is, oh, drop that. Read a book set in a cold place.
And the very last prompt, my punishment pick for the month, was to read a book set in a cold place. And in fact, I cannot tell you how hard it is for me to find books set in a cold place. I can find so many books that are perfect for the summer, that are like set during the summer, but cold places? So after many minutes to hours of perusing the shelves, I've decided on this one, because the illustrations in it make it look like it's going to be cold, and that is The Girl Who Speaks Bear by Sophie Anderson. This is a middle grade book that I'm obsessed with. These covers, they're stunning. I read one other book by this author and I didn't particularly love it, but I also can't stop thinking about it, so like I'm really excited to see more stuff that she has. But there's a picture in here, I'm trying to find it. Well, here's another one, but like that bear's in snow, and there's for sure another picture in here of like two people in the snow walking around. Here it is. There's like a girl, I think she's a girl, in the snow. So like, to me, I think there's going to be cold moments. So I'm going to count that because this took way too long to find. But basically this follows our main character, Yanka, who was discovered in the cave with some bears, or at least the cave used to belong to bears. I don't know if the bears were there when she was found, but like no one knows this about her. And then something happens and she has to leave her home and kind of go out and discover who she is. So it seems like it's going to be an adventure plotline for our main character. But I'm very excited to see where this goes, because like I said, I did enjoy the first book I read, House with the Chicken Legs. It wasn't my favorite book I've ever read, but I did really enjoy it, and her covers are stunning. And this one sounds a little more interesting to me than that one does. And then her third one about the castle sounds super interesting. So I'm gonna give this one a shot, but like, it took so long for me to find a book that was somewhat cold. And also I wanted to get a middle grade in this month, because I feel like I haven't been reading a lot of middle grade lately, and I have so many I want to get to. So this is my choice. If you read this, tell me if I'm correct. According to the illustrations, I feel like I'm going to be correct, because I see some coldness happening in here, but yeah, that's my pick. So here's a look at the books plus the ebook that I'm planning on reading for this month. Not the smallest stack like I was hoping for. However, a lot of these I have on audiobook, and some of these will work for the readathon I'm reading at the end of the month. So overall, I'll take it. I'm excited. There's a hodgepodge of stuff here, but there's definitely some stuff that I'm super excited about, some stuff I've had on my list for a while, some stuff that will help me get through those books I want to read by the end of 2021. So if you've read any of the books that I've mentioned in this video, please let me know your thoughts. I would love to know. I love it when you guys comment on things of like, oh, I've read that book, it's so good, and then I read it and I like can respond to you, go, oh my god, you're right. It makes my day, you guys. So let me know your thoughts. This month was so much calmer, I think, than last month, because we didn't have anything crazy. We had a couple of things that have come up before, but nothing to the point that I needed to pick again. So, oh, I feel much better. I feel much calmer than I did at the end of last month's video. But if you like this video, and I very, very much hope that you did, don't forget to give it a big thumbs up and subscribe down below if you want to be part of this awesome growing family. I've also got all my social media as well as other fun bookish links down there, so don't forget to go check all of those out, and I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.